All right, so we got actually a very good series of questions from XPlays6531 on our Self Reliant video, and I'm going to read it because I thought, hey, this one was worthy of a video reply. So let's take a look at the question. And the question is, thanks for the great video. Appreciate it. I understand the whole tech diving world has a very different view and expectation on diving and everything it involves. But realistically, that is a tiny fraction of the diving community. And I have to agree. So, can you help dumb this down further as an average recreational travel diver that has never dove in a destination with any group where anyone dove with a pony tank, other than an occasional dive master now and then, or even side mount or twins, even when there were tech divers in the group, since these were just casual recreational dives, but is interested with the idea of extra safety? I am trying to understand what it would practically take to have backup gas for travel diving. I don't even know anyone that brings their own tanks for travel, so if I hypothetically wanted to use a pony, do I just buy a setup as described, check in the empty tank for flights, and then ask the dive company to fill the tank there? Would a dive company fill a pony tank if you don't have the Self-Reliant Diver certification? This isn't like a dry suit which requires certification to rent, right? Would it just be easier to get side mount certified and rent 2 tanks? I don't recall any dive company renting out pony tanks. And so, all that to say is, number one, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch the video and then also ask a few thoughtful questions. And so here is the video reply. Okay, XPlays6531, let's tackle the easy ones first. Pretty much a logistical nightmare to actually travel with your own tanks, so most likely this is not an option. I'm not saying it can't be done, I'm just saying it's actually quite a pain in the ass. So let's put that one off the table. And now I have a question for you. When you say travel diving, what does travel diving even mean? So for instance, are we talking travel liveaboards or are we talking travel resorts where it's a mix of shore and charter diving? Let's tackle travel liveaboards off the bat. So number one is I have actually zero experience using travel liveaboards. And just recently I was like, hey, you know what? I actually wouldn't mind to try to do like an aggressor type liveaboard down in Belize. I would love to go do some Belize diving. I've never been. And I thought, hey, a liveaboard down there on the aggressor might be the way to do it. So I reached out to the aggressor company, had some emails back and forth. I said, hey, I'm a technical diver, but I would be looking for a recreational type diving experience. What options could I actually pay for in terms of maybe a pony tank or supporting my recreational side mount setup? And on both replies, they said, unfortunately, we don't offer either. They're like, we just simply offer entertainment type diving. So it's single tank with a buddy. And so even though I tried a couple more times, it just was not an option. So sadly, I understand it's their rules, their game. That's fine. But for me, that was a deal breaker. So I don't have any other liveaboard experiences. Maybe someone else watching this might say, hey, but if you go to this liveaboard, they might offer this, this, and this. But for me, the only one I tried was the aggressor, and it was a pretty firm no. So that covers kind of a travel liveaboard, at least from my experience. And now we can talk about travel diving in terms of resort and shore and charter diving. For that, I have 2 trips. My first trip was down to Cozumel about 4 years ago, and it was great. Diving was great. It was a recreational type dive group that I went with the local dive shop. And what I ended up doing was simply taking down a sling kit, which you can buy for about $80 from your local dive shop. And that allows you to sling a rental 80 on your left side or your right side, but most of the time it's your left. It had a completely separate set of regs, and it was completely independent and was to only be used in the case of an emergency. That worked well, but of course, I was already self-reliant trained by then. The second trip I did was down to Bonaire a couple of years ago, and I decided, because I had done the research, there's lots of great shore dives down there, that I wanted to do it in my side mount setup. So I had done the research, I had reached out to the local diving shop there, and I had set up to rent 2 side mount tanks from them. So by the time I got there, it was all said and done. I think overall it cost me about an extra $100 for the entire week. But for that entire week, I had those set of tanks. So whether I was diving on the shore or diving on the charter, those were my 2 tanks to use. And it worked out extremely well. And now the last point I'm going to make is it really comes down to, do you do a ton of local diving or not? If you're only going to be travel diving, most likely the Self-Reliant course is probably not the best way to go. And I would recommend finding a great local side mount instructor to learn from. If you've got the training and now you've got the side mount gear rented on your travel dive at the resort, trust me, it's going to be a great experience. So that's my video response to you, xplays6531. I hope it helps. Safe diving. And once again, thank you for watching and also taking the time to provide feedback and ask really good questions. It honestly does make making these videos worth it. Practice hard, dive safe.